Hi, this is Matt, and you're listening to Bluegrass Jam Along, the podcast for anyone and everyone who loves bluegrass. Hey everybody, welcome back to another week on the podcast. This is your Bluegrass Briefing for Monday, May 15th, 2023. And the eagle-eared of you may have noticed, is that even a phrase? Eagle-eared? The more attentive of you may have realised that I slightly changed the intro from the podcast for anyone and everyone who plays bluegrass to everyone who loves bluegrass, because I kind of figured that a lot of people might be listening to this for the interviews and they don't necessarily play bluegrass, and I wanted to be as inclusive and as friendly as possible. Little thing, but there it is. We have a new intro. And what's on the pod this week? What's going on? Well, so all the Tony Rice stuff is out, and the response has been great, and that's just been such fun. And now my head's up and looking towards next steps. So I'm starting to put together some new interviews. I'm starting to record some new tunes and some versions of previous tunes and some new content for jamming along with. So this is all exciting. I'm enjoying it. And some more news on that to come. But yeah, and planning some other sort of bigger episodes as well for later in the year. But more news on that when I've had some conversations with people and got some things lined up. But busy as always, and loving it as always. If you could do me a favour, I have started a YouTube channel. There's a link in the show notes. All I'd like you to do is just go and subscribe, because subscriber numbers is a really useful thing in terms of pointing out to YouTube how interesting something is. And it's actually really taken off, and I think it's a really good way for getting some of this content to people who don't do podcasts. I think putting all the time into things like the doc stuff and the Tony stuff, it's great to share those as widely as possible. And I'm aware that a lot of people don't do podcasts. You do, which is why you're listening to this. But if you could do me a favour and just go click on the link in the show notes, or go and find Bluegrass Jam Along on YouTube and just subscribe, that would be really, really useful to me. Thank you very much. That's probably it. Let's get on with this week's briefing. So here we go with the Church Street News bit. And Church Street News this week, I've seen Rhiannon Giddens has got a record coming out in the summer, and that's really interesting. It's her first album of all original stuff, and it's out in August. There's a song out already called You're the One. I'll stick a link to that in the show notes as a video, but I'll also add it to the playlist. Really interested to hear what she's got kind of coming up with that, because she's fascinating musician on lots of levels, just covers so many different areas. Really interesting. I'm kind of really looking forward to seeing what she comes out with. And that is the news for this week. That's the thing I've been most excited about. That's your Church Street News. Which brings us on to The Grass is New, which is the new releases bit. And we have a new record from Bela Fleck with Zakir Hussain and Edgar Meyer. Out right now. It's called As We Speak, and it is out as we speak. And I've stuck a track in the playlist, and I'll stick a link in the show notes. But yeah, go and listen to that. Very different from the Bluegrass Heart stuff. Bela always keeps moving, trying new things, different places. But really cool. Some lovely stuff on there. Really interesting listen. I enjoyed that. Tim O'Brien has a new single called The Bear out, and he's got a new record coming out in June. Go and listen to that. That's on the playlist too. And there's a John Stickley trio, maybe not strictly bluegrass, but definitely in the arena of bluegrass and related stuff that I've been listening to and enjoying. It came out at the end of April, and I missed the week it came out. I just realised it was there, so I've been listening to that. It's called Mean Time's Up, and I've stuck a track off that in the playlist as well. Go and have a listen to John Stickley trio. Those are the new releases this week. There is also coming up at the end of this week is the first record from Brittany and Natalie Haas. They've got a record out as a duo, and that is I've been listening to that. I've got an advanced copy of that because I'm interviewing them next week about that, and it's really cool. Really enjoying that. So yeah, there's a track off that already in the playlist, but I'll add some more when the record's actually out next week. I'm pretty sure it's out. Actually, the week after, it's out on the 26th, so I'll let you know about that again nearer the time. But that's really cool. I'm enjoying that a lot too. That's it for new releases. Which brings us on to the Scroll On Buddy section, which is stuff I've found on social media. And the thing I found on social media this week and really enjoyed is a video from Fretboard Journal. It's Bob Minner, who, as a lot of you know, is a big Norman Blake fan. He put out a wonderful, wonderful Norman Blake tribute record recently. It's Bob, it is Chris Eldridge, it's Bryan Sutton and Kenny Smith. And Bob was custodian for a week of the 1936 D18 that features on the cover of Norman Blake's Whiskey Before Breakfast album. It's not. I don't think it's a guitar he plays on the record, but it's a guitar on the cover, and it's an iconic guitar that has sort of disappeared from view for a while, and Bob had it for a while before it was being moved on. So he invited Chris and Brian and Kenny to sort of come and hang out with him and with this guitar, and it's 45 minutes of them chatting about guitars, chatting about this guitar, chatting about Norman. They play some tunes, they sing some songs. It's just a joyous thing, and I will stick a link in the show notes and go and watch it. The thing about what is out in the world these days is, like, you know, when I was a kid, you'd buy records and maybe you'd buy a video or a DVD. Like, the amount of content out, this is extraordinary content, and it's just sat there for you to go and watch. Go and watch it, and then go and follow these people and buy their stuff and contribute to their livings, because it's just great stuff. And like, we're so lucky to get to see things like this. I'm going to stop raving about that now and go and watch it again in a minute. Go watch that. Which sort of links into the bit where I chat about what's been in my ears this week, what I've been listening to, and it's Norman Blake. I went back and realised I didn't have a copy of the Whiskey Before Breakfast record. It's not on any of the streaming platforms over here in the UK. I think it's on most of them in the States, but not here. And to buy a copy on CD was something like £20, like $25 or something. And I haven't got a CD player anyway. But I found a download on Bandcamp. You can buy a download, which is great. So I went and bought that, and I've been listening to that record again and just really enjoying it. Just inspired by that video of Bob Minner's. I love Norman Blake, and, you know, that's been really enjoyable. But I've also been listening to the Haas album, Natalie and Brittany Haas's album, because that is due out in a couple of weeks and I'm interviewing them. And it's just great. It's just violin and cello, and just interesting textures and interesting choice of stuff. And I've already got lots of questions to ask them, so I'm looking forward to that. And looking forward to all of you hearing that in a couple of weeks as well. That's what I've been listening to. Let me know what you've been listening to. I'm always interested to know, because it helps me find some new stuff for me to listen to. That is it for this week's Bluegrass Briefing. There will be something out on Wednesday. I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be yet, because there's a few bits and pieces in the works and I haven't finished editing. But there'll be something else out this week, aiming for a briefing and a main sort of episode or episodes every week. And that's probably it, I think. All the usual stuff applies. Go to the website, bluegrassjamalong.com, for list of interviews, for chord sheets, to sign up for the mailing list. But in the meantime, that's it. I will see you next week. Have a great week and happy picking. Bluegrass Jam Along is proud to be sponsored by Collings Guitars and Mandolins, making some of the finest guitars and mandolins in the world since the 1970s. Visit collingsguitars.com and find out why.